I'm Marc Cuevas, and welcome to New Media Weekly. This week I have the privilege of speaking with Rob Barnett, founder and CEO of My Damn Channel. How do you choose what goes on My Damn Channel?
Well, the first thought we had in the beginning was not to choose a lot. We started counterintuitively and said, there's so many other sites now that are uploading a tremendous amount of video either on their own or they're opening the door and offering the audience the opportunity to just upload. We looked at that sort of aggregation game and felt like there were so many other companies doing it well. YouTube was doing it the best, that we wanted to focus a lot more on quality than quantity.
Right.
So in the very beginning, we went with a very small amount of shows. And on day one, I went to my friends, I went to people that I had worked with in the past. And we also tried to fill out certain pieces of a puzzle that we thought we needed to construct. So when we started in 2007, we were headed into what we thought would be one of the hottest presidential races of all time. And we looked at political satire and comedy and made this list. We wrote Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert. Then a lot of people say, oh yeah, Bill Maher. And then people sometimes can't come up with more, but we know Harry Shearer.
What do you think is scarier, the emergence of Sarah Palin or the fact that Al Franken won the Democratic primary in his state?
It's a real tight, it's a squeaker.
So
Right.
We went to Harry, and if you look at his channel, you'll see how we attacked the last presidential campaign. He's brilliant. There may not be many comedic minds as precision based as Harry's, and so he was first. Second was David Wayne with Wayne Days, and we launched that on day one, and we're still doing it. Third was our music channel. We're known primarily for comedy, but Don is a friend and arguably one of the best music producers in the world. So we turned the keys over to Don, and he's been making music with us and with his favorite artists for 5 years. And we started really small. Now we're pitched a lot, and we have a great team of people, all of whom are content creators in their own right. And we just gather, like you would imagine, about every week and sometimes every 2 weeks, and sit and watch everything that's submitted, and then do our best to think about people that we want to reach out to. So there aren't any real, scientific secrets. We're just real. We're going with our guts and our hearts and our brains. And I guess the last thing I would say is trying to really make content that's smart. If we have a demo, that's probably the lead characteristic of that demo. We're trying to work with really great professional creators interested in doing smart and great work.
Where do you see My Damn Channel going in the next year, 2, 3? What is in your mind for that time period?
Well, we've started this grand experiment. I won't call it experiment. I'll call it grand race.
Okay.
The grand race to where we're headed, in order for me to answer this question, is really taking some of the pages out of the television playbook and reapplying them. We're not mimicking them. We're not recreating them. We're really reapplying them.
You're updating them
to the internet, and realizing that this is not the same audience as a network primetime television show. This is an audience that may in fact be a bit more savvy about technology, a bit more cynical about hypey showbiz. We're really trying to get to know the audience over the last 5 years, and then give them television-like programming. But one of the things we learned that from the next team here at YouTube is that it's so important to give the audience regular, consistent programming. It's the only way you can really build. So the idea of uploading a video every once in a while, which we used to do, really doesn't work quite as well as it needs to in a crowded internet universe. So I guess the short answer is more television-like programming done in an internet way for an internet audience.
Now, what would you define as more television-like? Is that quality of production? Is it the the concept? Or are you more open to concepts that, because it's web than, say, a television network would be? What do you feel?
Well, I think it really centers again on programming and giving people packaged, consistently presented programming at a place and a time and a day that they can learn to expect it. So I'm speaking a lot, I guess, about my old life, which is scheduling.
Right.
It's a piece of the puzzle. When it comes to the content itself, like I said, I don't think you can just imitate television. I think the most successful web-based programming comes because it's speaking in a language and with a look and a feel. And for anybody that hasn't read it, the YouTube Creators Playbook that comes out from the people at YouTube Next is an incredible document worthy of your bedside table. The fact that they did all that work, that they collected all that data and then offered it for free, is answering the question that a lot of web creators have had, answering many of the questions that a lot of web creators have had for the last 4 or 5 years. Everyone want to know, how do you make one of these and how do you make it good?
Right.
I don't know that anybody knew in the beginning. A lot of ground had to be covered. A lot of people had to go out and just do it. Well, now that there's so many videos and so much data, there seem to be some rules that I'm frankly learning from just by, tapping into the collective knowledge that's out there.
What do you feel are a few of the key rules, or at least the ones that you adhere to?
Don't suck. No, I mean, look, there's so many. I don't think I'd probably be worthy of the lack of oxygen in this room and air conditioning to go through them all. But, there's great teachings about how to start a video versus not. There's there's huge don'ts. Like, it's unbelievable how many times we get videos that just have so much preamble.
Right.
In the web, get to it, get to it. And then you can get into just so many different topics about relevancy and content, about point of entry, about giving great titling of the video. There's just standing ovation, if I could stand, for what they've done, because they've really offered all of us a lot of do's and don'ts. And
the producer's playbook, the producer's Bible, it's must reading for everybody who wants to do something of any quality.
And then I guess I'll end all that butt kissing by saying, if you're really, really going to break out, you've got to disobey a handful of those rules and go with what you really feel is passionate. But what you really feel passionate about, but it's certainly now worthy of taking it all in and then deciding for yourself which ones are gold and which ones are not.
In the time since My Damn Channel started, beyond the YouTube revolution, there's been Facebook, there's been Twitter. What part, of any, have these new platforms played in bringing new audience and new eyes to My Damn Channel?
Well, it's become the standard bearer. It's become the gasoline that we all need in our tank. If you don't have a person on your team, and let's face it, for a lot of people that are web creators, you are the person on your team.
Right.
Right? I mean, for the first couple of years, we had 4 or 5 full-time people, that's it. But at every step of the way, without having X amount of hours of every day dedicated specifically to social, means your video's not going to make it. So I think rule number 1 is that you are a car, that is the gas, you must get the gas and constantly use it. And anybody that, kind of flirts but doesn't really invest in their social presence is going to have a very, very hard time getting what used to be possible in 06 and 07 a little bit, that V word that I hardly ever use. The V word's almost impossible now as it is. But if you're ever going to get, let's just call it mega views,
Right.
You're not going to get it without spending mega hours not sleeping in social.
You have to go out there, you have to tweet, retweet, build out your fan base.
Don't sleep. No sleep.
Sleep is the enemy of the
Sleep
producer.
is bad.
In
No sleep.
building out the network, what has been one of the lessons that you've learned that was surprising to you? I would imagine since there were no rules, many things were surprising, but is there something that has stood out in the development that kind of stood up and said, this is a unique issue, or this is something that I have to really identify and keep?
I think that when we started My Damn Channel, we made a decision that user-generated content was great and covered. We weren't going to do any of it.
Right.
We made another decision that we thought we had the opportunity to be able to bring a lot of great name talent from film and television to online for the first time ever and distinguish ourselves in that way. We did that. We still do that. We do it well. I think the mistake we made early on was not investing an important amount of time in enough new talent. And we met Grace Helbig back in 2008, and we hired her and birthed Daily Grace as a brand. The success that she's having now, 4 years later in 2012, was a great teaching to me. Not only is Grace an incredible talent, but I realized that we couldn't just focus so much, too exclusively, I guess I would say, on film and television talent. So You Suck at Photoshop was another example.
My name is Donnie, and you suck at Photoshop. You do. You're awful, and that's why you're here. All right, let's get started.
Of finding great talent that was undiscovered and giving them a home. Where we've learned from this big lesson is we knew we needed an expert, and I was not the expert. So we found Molly Templeton. And Molly was one of the biggest early stars on YouTube back in 06, 07, 08. I guess I might be off a year. But Molly knew how to get tremendous audience on YouTube, so we brought her into our company as management. And Molly is now not only working with Grace, but a number of other people that have really significant audiences on YouTube. And we're blending that level of talent in with the film and television talent. I think that's putting us in a better place.